Welcome to Chapter 1 of our series, Start and Plan Your First Project, where we're kicking things off with an episode titled, Kickstart Any Project, Clarify the Why and What. Today, we're going to explore the key differences between a project and the everyday tasks that fill our schedules, helping you lay a solid foundation for your first project. So, let's dive in. About a third of business projects fail for one embarrassingly simple reason. Nobody can clearly say why they exist. A team rushes into meetings, drafts timelines, spends a typical budget, and only halfway through does someone quietly ask, "Wait, what are we actually trying to finish?" That vague, uneasy feeling at a project's kickoff meeting? It usually shows up when the why and what are still fuzzy. People nod along to slides and timelines, but if you stopped the room and privately asked each person to write down the project's goal in one sentence, you'd get 5 different answers. That hidden misalignment is where delays, rework, and budget creep quietly begin. In this episode, you'll learn how to disarm that risk before it forms by forcing radical clarity early. We'll use a simple, 2-part foundation, a 1-sentence vision that captures the end state and value, and a lightweight scope outline that sets the outer fence. No heavy paperwork, no jargon, just enough structure so that when pressure hits, your decisions have a clear reference point instead of relying on memory or politics. Think of this early phase as turning on the lights before you rearrange the furniture. The vision and scope aren't there to impress executives, they're there to expose assumptions while it's still cheap to change them. You'll often discover that stakeholders carry quiet, conflicting expectations. One imagines a quick pilot, another silently expects a full global rollout. By making the why and what explicit, those differences surface early when they're just conversations, not escalations. In the next steps, you'll translate fuzzy intent into concrete statements that real people can actually test, challenge, and commit to. Let's start with the why you actually have, not the one written in a slide deck. Most projects carry at least 3 different versions. The stated why, the official reasoning you put in documents. The political why, the reasons tied to budgets, careers, or territory. The real why, the problem or opportunity that genuinely deserves effort. Your job at initiation is not to invent a noble why, it's to uncover the real one and make it speakable. That usually means asking uncomfortable follow-ups. If we do nothing for 12 months, what realistically happens? Who feels the pain most today? And how do we know? If this succeeds, what stops being a problem? You're looking for evidence, not slogans, metrics, complaints, cycle times, error rates, lost deals, regulatory risks. When you hear generic aspirations, improve efficiency, enhance experience, treat them as placeholders. Push until you can attach a specific, observable shift. Reduce onboarding time from 10 days to 3. Cut refund complaints by half. Launch in 2 new regions without adding headcount. Then zoom out 1 level and test for fit. Does this initiative line up with your organization's current strategy, or is it a clever distraction? A crisp why that contradicts strategic priorities is still a problem. It will die slowly in resourcing discussions. Ask, which strategic goal does this directly advance, and how would we prove that to a skeptical CFO? Once the why is reasonably solid, you can make the what sharp instead of sprawling. Start by listing candidate outcomes, not features. Customers can self-serve X. Sales sees Y in one screen. Support doesn't need Z workaround. Treat each outcome as negotiable, then rank them by 2 filters. 1. Impact on the real why. 2. Achievability in this phase. This is where you deliberately choose what not to do yet. Write those exclusions down in plain language. No mobile app in this phase. Only for Region A. Integrates with CRM, not with finance systems. Boundaries like these feel restrictive, but function as guardrails when new ideas appear. In practice, a strong why-what pair feels slightly uncomfortable. Focused enough that saying yes to it forces you to say no to tempting extras. That tension is a good sign. You're trading vague safety for testable intent.
When you test this in the real world,
It helps to get absurdly concrete. Take a mid-sized retailer planning a new loyalty program. Left alone, that phrase invites every stakeholder's wish list. One leader pictures personalized offers, another expects a sleek app. Finance silently assumes minimal discounts. Instead, you might draft, in 6 months, returning customers can earn and redeem points on web and in-store, lifting repeat purchases by 10%. Notice how that quietly kills a dozen side quests. No mobile app, yet. No complex partner ecosystem. No AI-driven recommendations. In medicine, a good surgeon doesn't promise to fix everything wrong during an operation. They define the specific condition, target, and acceptable risks. The same discipline here lets you say, interesting idea, does it move this metric in this time frame? If not, it belongs in a clearly labeled parking lot, not in this phase. Projects waste 11.4% of investment on average. Yet that loss is really the tuition fee for not sharpening the why and what early. As AI tools draft canvases from casual voice notes, the real leverage shifts to how often you revisit those drafts. Think of your vision and outline as a living margin note in the company's strategy, lightly updated as markets move, ESG pressures rise, or discoveries surface, but stable enough that people can bet their reputations on them. Treat this as a working sketch, not a framed painting. Early on, you're just drawing bold outlines so your team stops coloring outside the page. As you learn, you can shade in details, erase mismatched strokes, and tighten the composition, without losing the central image everyone's hands, budgets, and deadlines are actually serving. Start with this tiny habit. When you sit down to work on a new idea, pause and say out loud, "This project matters because," and finish the sentence in under 10 seconds. Then, ask yourself one super specific question. If this worked, what would be different for me 3 months from now? And answer with just one concrete change, like, I'd have 3 beta users testing this, or I'd have 1 weekly client. If you're at your desk, jot that one change on a sticky note and stick it to your laptop so your why and what are staring back at you next time you open it. This was Owl Up, your daily step forward. To keep learning with structured courses and more insights, go to owlup.co. Until tomorrow!